my predecessor had an option, to become a statesman and rise above politics and, become a unifying, factor in a country. But he chose to climb down and become an opposition leader. Because in your own statement, your own headline, is the chairperson of Azimio up to now. Is the chairperson of party leader of, and he's busy with this. What you people wrote. He's busy organizing the opposition against me. Of course, I have tried to persuade him, because I thought, as my former boss, I tried to, persuade him that maybe he could play a different role. In fact, I remember when I was thinking, about how to take Kenya to the next level, I went and sat down with the former Prime Minister. And I told him, you see, we are now the elders, we are the leaders of this nation. Why don't we work together, grow a bigger vision for Kenya, that then, we can hand over to the next generation of leaders. And the former Prime Minister was I must say, I must give him credit. He was up to it. In fact, he immediately told me, look, I am going to look for Professor Hino. But I agreed with the former Prime Minister that it is important that we look for the former president. And I went out of my way, I looked for him. I went and saw him first in Ichaweri. I also came and saw him in his office here. And then I talked to him to persuade him that, look, as a former head of state, the only one living now, please help us to, forge, a new, vision for the country. But he was reluctant, and he said he wasn't sure he wanted to do that. Well, those are choices people make. So, of course, he chose to do what he's doing, organizing the opposition and sponsoring them. And even in your own, assessment, these people in the opposition, do they look that they have any idea of where they are going? In your estimation, can you explain how people who are supposed to be intelligent have no plan? They have no vision. They have no agenda. If you ask this one, he says, oh, I want to abolish Shah. Do you have an alternative? They cannot tell you. Another one there is saying, we want to abolish housing. We want these houses to be broken down, or maybe, I don't know, done what. Do you have an alternative? What about the Constitution? The Constitution talks about housing. What about that?
Yep,
another one here, you listen to another one. Is the only argument he has against housing is that chicken, I don't know, cannot climb the stairs. Now, let me ask you. Looking at those people, do they look like don't they look sponsored? Don't they look hired? Don't they look like stooges of somebody and they are, puppets? Because how do you explain people who are supposed to be reasonable, intelligent, lawyers, they've all of a sudden, they cannot even, the kind of reasoning. I had one of them when he was asked about, he said, my first is to come and abolish Shah. Why? Oh, the cost of dying has gone up. Really? What? Yeah, I mean, this is.
You're not.
You work for the nation, right? Can you check 2nd of August? What was the headline on the nation? It said Uhuru's grand coalition against William Ruto. Have you seen me anywhere near the nation writing headlines? So you answered yourself, you answered yourself. And let me say the following. It's an open secret, that my predecessor has not gotten, out of what happened in 2022. That despite everything he did, I won the election. Secondly, he made a prediction himself in public before a whole PG of Azimio that William Ruto was going to fail within 3 months, because he knew very well that the country was in dire straits. He knew about the default, he knew about the state of the economy, and he prophesied that it was going to collapse within 3 months. And so I am sure he has a problem that, well, I managed. The country did not default. The tattered economy that he left today is in a different place. We brought inflation down. We've enhanced our foreign exchange reserves almost 3 times. We've managed interest rates. We've managed exchange rates. The country is stable. Kenya is now the 6th largest economy in Africa. And we have changed the perception of the country in terms of investor confidence.
What do you make of that launch, and what do you make of
You see, that is your assessment. I mean, I encourage leaders to tell the country, okay, William Ruto has done this. I can do better. This is how I can make things better. And the people of Kenya will, they are very rational, That's why they elected me. They elected me on the basis of the agenda that I had. And I am very proud and I'm very grateful to the people of Kenya for giving me a chance to be president. And today, without fear of any contradiction, I can give an account of the 4 years I've been in office on everything that I have done.